Little baby Bankston was born at the end of last month, and when you have a new baby in the house, you just can't predict how much time you're going to have to dedicate to art. So, because I know how much you guys look forward to these classes, and I'm sure you know by now how much I look forward to doing these classes, I thought it would be fun if I pre-recorded our Make It Monday class and then have it available on YouTube and post it on Monday, and that way I could be sure to be able to offer you something fun to do before the end of this class that we've been doing, before the end of this class period kind of comes to an end for summer. Woo, summer! So I'm hoping that over the summer I'll be able to do more videos like this. And if you have ideas about things that you want to see me make for you, I would love to be able to justify my having done these videos. So go ahead and send me those comments, and I will do my best over the summer to make a few more videos like this. And then in September, I'm hoping that we'll be able to kind of go back to normal, and that I'll be able to teach my classes again at the Winton Senior Center. But if you like this YouTube type style of classes, that's kind of like what we've been doing live, with very minimal editing on my behalf, then we will try to go ahead and do that. So today we're going to be doing a fun summer silhouette painting class. And you know, I told you before, you don't have to come up with the ideas for what to do in your classes all on your own. You can scroll the internet and find lots of cool ideas for yourself to interpret. And I found this this image that we're going to paint today on another painting classes website. So this was, they were going to be offering this class in a nearby locale, and I just said, ooh, I like that picture, I want to paint that picture for my home, and I did a screenshot of it. And then when I was scrolling through looking for what are we going to teach in my class today, I said, oh, I'll do that summer silhouette scene. So we are going to do our painting on a canvas. Okay, so I've got my canvas, I've got some paint brushes. You're going to need probably like 2 or 3 different sizes of paint brushes. If you only have one paintbrush, hey, you can make it work, right? So I always try to pick a paintbrush for the background that is about the size that's relevant to the painting or the canvas that it's going to go on. So if I had a great big canvas, I might want to use a paintbrush that was more like a foam brush or something even larger than this. For this size, I think this is going to work out perfect. If I had a really small canvas, I might start my background with something smaller, right? So that makes sense, okay? So then I'm just going to have that large brush. I'm going to get a medium-sized brush. I'm looking for one that doesn't have stuff on it. So this is a really soft brush. This is a little bit harder. And you're going to kind of choose the brush that works for you. And then I'm going to get a smaller brush. So you're going to basically have a large, a medium, and a small paintbrush. So because, you know, I like to gather more supplies than what I'm actually going to use, this is what I'm going to be working with. And that way I can pick and choose. But I'm also not going to put my paintbrushes away. That way if I choose something different, I have it available. So we'll get those down. You saw me pour some water, and I just use a baby food jar glass. And then I've got some paper towels here. If you don't have paper towels, or if you're in short supply of paper towels, or you want to be more environmentally friendly, you might just go get like an old washcloth or old kitchen rag or something and paint it up. Okay? Now I've got my paint boxes over here, and the colors that I'm going to use today are going to be kind of sunsetty, nighttime. So I've got some dark blue I'm going to put down here, and I'm just using an old plastic container lid. I store my paints upside down so that they come out really quickly. I'm going to add a little bit, I'm going to add another color of blue because I like to have some variety, and I like the way it looks when there's more than one color texture. Now I'm going to add a blue that has a little bit of green to it. And I don't need too much of that. And I'm going to get another little green in here. So I'm just picking colors kind of intuitively, but I'm also looking at my picture to see what colors from the picture I might want to have on there. So I've got my nighttime sky kind of colors. I need some black. Let's see, open black, where are you? Here you are. It's for my silhouette stuff. And then I need some colors that are going to be like the sunset itself. So we're thinking harmonious colors like red, orange, yellow, maybe a little peach. So let me see, I've got some real red here. And because I store my paints upside down, they just pour out. So I've got to be kind of careful. And it does get a little messy. I'm going to add a little pink in there because I like sunsets that have a little pink. And kind of makes it more tropical, right? I'm going to add a little purple because, again, I like purple. So I'm going to mix that a little bit with my black later on. Then I'm going to get some, this is apricot color. It's kind of a goldish orange, and it just makes me feel like a big ball of fire setting in the sun. I'm going to add a little gold to my palette, kind of a mustardy color. And then I'll get some yellow. So I've got about 3 different colors of yellow. I've got the red, I've got that pink, and now I'm going to get some jack-o'-lantern orange on here. Whoa, it just really came out. Okay. So I've got probably too much paint, but I've got a fairly big canvas, so you can see about how much paint I'm going to start with. And let's go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, get you set up so you can see what I'm painting, check on my baby, and then we'll just keep on going, okay? Alright, so I've got the image for us, I've got the canvas, here's all that paint, I got my paper towel at the ready, and let's just go ahead and get started with that big brush, and I'm going to dip into my blue colors, and I'm just going to start swiping this on to the background. So you'll notice that when I'm putting my colors on, I'm going to dip in more than one color at a time. And each time I dip into paint, I'm going to get a different color on there so that I get some uneven stuff going on in the background. And this is going to make it look more natural because when we look up at the sky, we don't see just kind of one color. We see, you know, areas of light and dark, and that's what I want to have on my canvas too. Now, if you want a really uniform color, you're going to want to let the paint dry in between coats because you can see I've got really fluid paint and a fairly textured paintbrush, and so everything that I do is showing up on the canvas. Okay, so you could put some gesso on your canvas if you wanted to make it a little bit more smooth and let the paint kind of stick a little bit better. This is just the style that I'm used to doing, so it doesn't bother me, and I like the way that it looks, kind of fluid. Okay, so here's a tip. If I start my paintbrush in the middle, I'm going to have that line. But if I turn my paintbrush, I can kind of smooth that line out, and I get some more cloud-like formations. Also, if when I do my paint, I only go to like a certain spot, it's going to stop there. Or if I come from the edge, I'm going to have more paint on the outside than on the inside. So those are just some things to kind of be aware of and play with. So in the background, I don't care too much about what's happening because I know for the most part I'm going to paint over it, or if I don't like it, I can wait for the paint to dry and again paint over it. So I'm just going to kind of hold this up until the edges dry. I like to get the paint on the edges while I'm painting the rest of the canvas so that it kind of matches what's going on in the front, on the sides, and that creates some visual interest for people coming up to the painting while they're walking. Let me get my image back on here and we'll see what we've got. So we're going to keep working our way down about halfway. We're going to leave some room for the orange, and then from the bottom we're going to bring some more blue kind of coming up this way. So down in the corner on the left hand side, paint some blue. And again, get some different colors of blue in there to create some texture and some interest. Okay. And then we want some over here. And then we want some dark colors down in this right-hand corner. So get it a little bit darker down there. And I'm just mixing the paint right there in the palette. Now I really like this texture, so I'm going to try to mimic that over here too. Don't know how I did that, but I like it. So just experiment with your paintbrush. And then remember to bring the paint over the edges. So what are you most excited about and looking forward to summer? I'm looking forward to heading off with my family to the Oregon Inlet down in the Outer Banks with Banks the baby. And if you remember, that's kind of where he got his start in life. So we're pretty excited to take him down there, dip his little tiny cute toes in the sand, and see if he's as much of a merman as his older brother and middle sister are. So I've had 3 of my babies born underwater now, and I gotta say, if I was gonna have another one, I'd probably do it the same way, because it's just kind of fun to be able to say that they were born underwater, and as a mother having a baby, it sure made it a lot easier to relax and everything else. Now, you know what would have been really fun is if I was able to do something like create some art while I was in labor. That might be a little far-fetched, huh? But hey, maybe it could be a new thing. Active labor art. Let me know what you think about that. Okay, I'm going to add some of this green in here. And the green is really, it's kind of fanciful, right? And you know I like fanciful. But as that paint dries, it's going to stick on the top a little bit more. And it's just adding some variation in color. Okay? So I'm just adding some green in here. You don't have to add the green. This is your painting. And, but you know, there's a special time of day when the sun is setting where that green kind of, it's almost like a flash of green. Have you ever seen that? Where just as the sun sets, there's this flash of green that occurs. I've never really seen it myself, but I have read about it in books. And so I'm going to pretend like at this perfect sunset day, the sailboat out on the water, that we're going to see something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of this darker color and I'm going to bring some highlights down in here. And this is going to start to be what the reflections of these mountain ranges in the background, or whatever they are. Maybe it's an inlet, maybe it's just some beachy land in the background. Maybe instead of being at the beach, this is a little cove of some sort. Or maybe I'm looking in from the outside of the ocean and I'm going into the little cove. So I'm going to have one area in the middle and then one area down here, I'll say about 1 inch from the bottom, inch and a half. This is where my little cattail banks are going to grow. Okay, and now I'm just going to let this set. I'll put some paintbrushes underneath it so that it can, so I can try to preserve my tablecloth. Let that set there. And I'm going to get my paintbrush clean by just putting it in the water, and then I'm going to use my paper towel to really squeeze that water out. And I can use that to also wash off my hands real quick. And so if you were feeling kind of impatient at this step and you wanted the paint to dry really quickly, you could just hit it with a blow dryer, and that would work really good. I'm going to be even more impatient than that, and I'm just going to keep painting. So let's see, I'm going to start with my red, and I'm just going to come in here, and you can see I've got that same big brush. You could change to a medium-sized brush if you wanted to right now, but I'm just going to come in with this red, and I'm going to go right in here. Kind of smooth it out, maybe blend it a little bit. Any place that we get red and green together, it's going to turn a little bit brown, so I'm going to be careful about that. I'm going to bring this red right down here to be the outside of my sunset path. So as the sun sets, it's going to create this little path of light. And that sunset path is going to be brighter where the sun is actually setting. And some of this is going to get painted over, so I'm not too concerned about what it looks like. Just using my paintbrush in the side-to-side motion. And let's bring some more blue back in here. Kind of made it purple, didn't it? So if I don't like that, I gotta get some more of that other color that was in there. See what I can do to blend it here. So you know, sometimes when you're painting, you get some unexpected stuff happening, right? And I'm not really digging that, so I'm gonna get some more of that blue color. So if you have something unexpected happen, you gotta ask yourself, how much is this gonna bother me? Do I need to fix it now? Can I let it dry and see how it goes? I'm just going to use a little paper towel magic. So here's my paper towel that I wiped my paintbrush off. I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to erase, erase, erase. How fun is that? Maybe I like that color. Ooh. Okay, so I've got to get the water off of here. So you can use your paper towel kind of like as an eraser. You can also use it to create some more texture. So I'm trying to get this side-to-side type motion, but let's just say I wanted more of a variegated, or like maybe there's something plopping in the water over here. See how fun that is? Just create some texture in there, some blending. Okay, so let's get this blue back in here. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so what are you going to do if on your painting you start to get a color that you're not too fond of? Either work with it or fix it, right? Okay, here we go. Oh, my mom's sending me a little glass of wine for the afternoon. Thanks, Mom. Kind of fun to be able to share a cuppa long distance, especially since I haven't had a chance to be able to partake yet. I'm just biding my time on that one. Okay, I'll get a little more of this blue because I got some red in there. And I'm trying to make this same texture going over here on the other side too. And if I get tired of messing with that, I just take my paper towel and make the whole thing look the same on both sides. As I splotch with my paper towel, I'm just kind of rotating it so I don't get all the same splotches. Maybe now it'll look like it's feeding time and there's some bugs out there or something. That'd be cool. Okay. So now I'm going to work in some of the orange and some of the yellow. So what do you think about my painting so far? It's looking pretty abstract, isn't it? Let's get more paper towel. Squeeze out the water here. And we'll go in with some orange. And we'll put that right in the middle. Kind of make a little halo for the sun to set in. Spread it out over here. And then we'll go right in the middle down here too. It's picking up a little bit of that blue underneath, but that's okay because I know once it's dry, I can just go right over it. Okay, then we've got some pink now, and I'm going to go over the edges of the pink and the red and the orange. I'm going to blend that in there. So experiment with different textures and styles of putting the paint on. So I'm doing the side-to-side swipey, but you might do up and down pounce. See how that looks? Very similar to the paper towel. And or you might really want a very defined, like a real smooth look, and so you could use a paintbrush that was made with some natural bristles and really take your time to make it look just so smooth and make the lines really go the way that you want it to. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some of this yellow now and just go right over the top of what I've been doing. Give myself that yellow in the middle, kind of as a base for some more yellow later. So this is going to be where my sun is going to start to shine out. Alright, I'll wipe off my paper towel here. And now we'll come in and we'll do some of this mountain background stuff. Alright, so I'm going to get a smaller paintbrush and I'm going to get some purple and some black, and I'm just mixing it together. So I get a dark purple, and I'm going to come in, let's see, right about like this, and I'm just going to make a line kind of going right across the bottom. But the line's not perfect, do you see that? I'm kind of twisting my paintbrush a little bit, go out from the other edge and come in and meet that. So this is going to be like my horizon line. I want it to come a little bit farther down. So this is where my land meets the sea. And we want it to be kind of wonky, because from far away it probably would not be real smooth. Okay, and go ahead and bring it right over the edge of your painting. And now on the top of this, I'll take more purple, and I'm going to come up from the top, just go right along the bottom, get some more over on this side and do a wavy line that comes down in there. I'm just going to trace over that line again. Here we go. That's going to make it look like some of this is getting some sunset on it. Alright, I'm going to come in with some black, go in the middle, and I'm just twisting my paintbrush a little bit to get some extra texture. Here we go. And again, let's follow through with bringing those mountain ranges right over the edge. So any place that's dark is going to end up looking like a little valley, and that's going to look really cool when the painting is dry and done. And you can see that right in here it looks like maybe this is a little mountain and it's getting some of that sunset in the background. Alright, I'll get my paintbrush kind of dried off there, and now I'll bring some of this dark blue and the black down on the bottom, and I'm going to bring a little bank right in here and do the same kind of thing. Just build it up a little bit, bring it over the edge. Get some more paint over here, and this one's going to be a little bit higher up. And bring it over the edge. So your land base is going to be more wonky on the top than it is on the bottom, if that makes sense. Alright, I want to kind of cover this up. That looks really nice. Okay, so now we're going to take this and we're going to make it a little bit fatter. So I'm going to bring some things kind of going like this all over the place, and this is looking like some grass or some cattails. And you'll notice I've got varied heights going in different directions. Because this paintbrush is a really natural bristle brush, I can kind of work it to make it a little bit flatter. And so what we want is to have lots of different points coming off here. Okay, and I don't want to get them too close. It's okay if they cross over in some places, but because this paintbrush is thick, that's why I don't want to get them too close. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this paintbrush in the water to rest. I'm going to get a smaller paintbrush. I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to add some cattails to the top. of a few of them. That's fun. Not all of them, or if you want, you can do all of them. And I try to make the top go in the same direction that the bottom is. So maybe these are cattails, maybe these have a couple little lines going off on the edge. Anytime you want to make a real thin line, just barely touch the canvas with your paintbrush. I think we have a tendency to really plop the paint on there and press down really hard. But we want to, if we want a thin line, we're just going to barely touch. Another thing is that wherever the first place we touch is going to be the thickest. So if I want a thin line, I want to start where I want the thickest part to be and just drag it out. So I'm thinking I like the way this looks. I like this a lot. I add a little bit of blue in here, just for some variation. Come back in with my big brush, go right over the top, just kind of smooth it in there. Okay, so now I've got a pretty good amount of drying going up at the top, and I really like the way this glimmer was going on down here, so I'm just going to take my paper towel and splotch up some of this extra paint. Do a little swipe swipe, only kind of going from the outside, or that middle part in, to go on the outside. Swipe it out. Make sure I get a nice clean place and I'm not going into that black. And I'm just picking up any of that extra paint and kind of spreading it out. So when I come in with my next layer, I'm not running into that. Okay, so I'm ready to put a big sunset, big old sun in here. And I'm going to start like this, make my circle bigger, 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 bigger. I always think it's easier to start in the middle and make it bigger than to make a circle and try to fill it in. Because I don't need it to be perfect, all right? And so that I don't feel like I need it to be perfect even more, I'm going to take that small black brush, I'm going to dip into some of this kind of greenish color, and I'm going to put a little cloud in here. Because even on a perfect day, we might have a little something like that up in the sky, right? So any place that I see some of that blue shining through in the back, I'm just going to put a little cloud. Put some over here too. Any place that I don't really like the way it's going. These are the kind of clouds that are kind of wispy. And maybe there's one right up here too. So again, if I want it to just trail off, I just start lifting my paintbrush down. Just lift it up at the end, get a nice little cloud trail. Okay. So what do you think so far? I'm digging this. Okay, I want to go in the background and give myself a little bit more of this blue. Nope, don't want to use yellow. I'll give myself some more of this blue up here. So now that I've got some of those blues and I've got some of those clouds, I'm just going to mimic that same look up here. And I'm smoothing over any of those places that look too much like brush strokes to me. Sometimes you want a lot of brush strokes. I mean, think about all those different painters that part of what you really recognize about them is the use of brush strokes, like Van Gogh or Monet, where you actually see the paint sitting right on top there. So there we go. Getting some more blending out there. And I think this is going to stay light down there, but I want some darker color up here. And just atmospherically, the corners are always going to be a little darker than the rest of it. Okay, so if you look up at the night sky, you'll always see that the top of the sky is going to be the darkest. So I'm going to make that happen on my painting also. So I'm just going to bring a line right along the top. Hope you all have been able to see the video and that you've enjoyed this type of Make It Monday. Let me know what you thought in the comments. either here on YouTube or on my Craft with Anna channel. And if you have not seen the other Make It Monday videos, they're still out there. They're available for you to watch. I'd love for you to take a peek at them. If you're not following my page already on Facebook, I certainly welcome you to do so. And if you make something as a result of watching this video or any of the others, gosh, I'd love to see that too. And bring a little bit more of that sunset path right down the middle here, and that's kind of helping me cover up any of those dark spaces in the background. I like that. And there we go. Complete! So what did that take us? 10 or 15 minutes and whip up a real fabulous picture? If I want to, I can just go in and maybe make that a little bit brighter. And I can do that now, or I can do that after it's dry. So I think what I'm going to do personally is I'm going to wait till it gets dry, and then I'm going to go and add some gold, maybe some shimmer. But I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope you go and paint something yourself, and I hope that we get to do some more crafting over the summer. Definitely keep in touch. I've really enjoyed hearing from the people who have reached out to me in comments and through Messenger. So if you've got something that you want to share, I'd love to see it. And I will touch base with you from the beach. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.